So, especially as a small business, when you're thinking about the best practices for interacting with your customers, think about it as just having a conversation with your friends. A lot of companies get caught up in trying to have corporate speak. They use, we are launching this new thing, or we are doing this. And actually what we found is that, personalizing it, pretend you're sitting at a table with your customers, and how would you speak to them? Would you speak to them like that in a sort of tinny, wooden way, or would you have a real conversation? And so for our brand specifically, because we are a little bit more of an aggressive brand, we have a very familiar voice when we're on social media. We try to amuse them. We try to amuse our friends. We try to inform our friends. We bring them topics that we think will be valuable to them, and we actually spend very little time selling. Probably 2 posts, maybe 3 posts a day will actually link our website, in order to sell a shirt or something. The rest of the time, we're just passing on information we think is cool. So growth is the biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur, whether it's slow or fast. You're always trying to grow more, but then when it starts coming, it provides its own challenges. When you start selling 4 times what you were selling the day before, which happened to us once when an article was published, it really stresses out the operation. So what we learned from that, and luckily that happened early in our history, where 4 times as much really wasn't as much as we thought it was, is that you always have to prepare for success. You should expect slow growth, but you should prepare for what happens if you do suddenly blow up. So, how does the operation change if you double business overnight? How much cash will you need if you double business overnight? And so by actively planning what's going to happen if you are successful, you're going to set yourself up so that growth ends up being a great thing instead of the scariest thing on earth. I spend 0 minutes a day worried about whether or not people are offended by our products. We make shirts for the military, police, fire, EMS, and the patriotic Americans that support them. And if you're not in our core constituency, then you might be offended by some of our stuff. But that's just, the name of the game. If you're Amazon or you're Walmart or somebody like that, you have to worry about these types of things because you have a generic product. You're competing on price. You're competing on channel. We compete on our message. We compete on our creative, and we deliver exactly the product that our customer wants. So if someone else is upset by that, it's actually almost amusing. We know we're doing our job correctly.